Okay, so this is the 2 to 3 minute video of how okay, so after interviewing 4 different people, I came to the conclusion that honestly a lot of time people so the conclusion was that a lot of the time most people don't believe those myths. You know, they're told it and they hear it and they were very familiar with the myths, but to say that they believed it was false. And it kind of puts that into perspective that as a society, we see that, you know, textbooks and social media and all the things that influence all the different variables that make us think the way that we think have a play in it. And so as I was talking to these individuals, I learned that that scientific background and, you know, whatever they lacked was made up with what they believed in their own biases, which I guess was the intention of the game. I think that the responses were very natural, and to be put in the situation, I literally just walked up and said, hey, I know one from a class, and so I said, hey, like, if you guys are cool with this, it's for a class. They were totally understanding, and I could sit them down in a study room and just record them, and it was awkward, it was weird at first, but to gain the insight and see what they say, you know, where I can agree, where I'm at a very, my playing field it's irrelevant in regards to the questions, just because I'm not necessarily focused on whether they're right or wrong. It's just their responses and why they think that. And so I think having that intellectual or that literacy and the scientific information, as little as it was or how much they had, it was important, and it plays a role in their life, because whether they believe it or not, they get that information from an influence, whether that be their parents, their, you know, textbooks and social media, as I mentioned before. But humans are we adapt to different things, and we're biased, and so sometimes we can come in with preconceived notions of things. And so sometimes you can ask somebody something and they don't want to necessarily learn because they think that they already have it down pat. And I think that's where a lot of times fallacies and bias come into play, because you see that, you know, their background may be something different, and I think a lot of times that's why. So that's why it's important. What I learned from this was we all have our own variables, our own different things that we think, and I think that that's what makes us who we are. But it was cool kind of talking to these people about it, because obviously they're not perfect. They don't have perfect knowledge on it, neither do I. But it was cool to see their reactions and kind of gain some insight from that, and how humans as a whole think. Even if 4 is a small sampling size, it is something to go off of.